welcome back everybody. Today I have a little topic about where and how to measure, when you measure the poundage of your bow, where you measure the 28 inches. You know, they are this arrow. First of all, let's start with the arrow. Why is it so important that you measure your arrow first properly? This arrow is from the tip to the bottom of the nock 28 inches, which is not correctly measured. What we need is, first of all, you measure always your arrow from the bottom of the tip to the bottom of the nock, 28 inches. So now this standard of 28 inches comes from whatever times. We mostly draw longer arrows, but doesn't matter. So mostly the poundage is always measured at 28 inches. But where are now these 28 inches? So this arrow is until here, 28 inches. Do you measure it from here? Do you measure it from here? Or in the middle? In the middle of the handle, where do you measure it? And there are different opinions out there. So generally speaking, I always say from the back of the handle. There are some, they measure it from the center of the handle, and there are now some they measure to increase the poundage of the bows, the draw weight of the belly of the handle, which is of course then, I don't know. So it depends. This is a Turkish way of doing in the belly of the handle. But then you see, for me it always depends on the shape of the handle. So there, if I would shoot this bow directly through the center, the belly would be here. But I hold the bow like this, so it should be here. And now you see from here to here is whatever, half an inch, or so you draw more than you later will draw when you shoot the bow. Get the point? So for me it always depends on the handle. So look at this handle. When I say now from the back of the handle, would be here. But what if I have a bow now like this? Look at this. There is the back over there. Doesn't work for me. So, and especially then inside, look at this, how much difference this is here. There is now this AMO regulation, and some Chinese companies measure the draw weight according to this AMO, and that means that the deepest part of the handle of your recurve bow plus 1.75 inches would be then where you measure your 28 inches. But this is again deepest part of the handle. Just for discussion. Maybe we find a solution. So look at this, from the deepest part of the handle to the back of the handle here would be already 2 inches. So it would be kind of like here. Then I have as example this bow. Deepest part of the handle plus 1.75 would be then some kind of like pointing over, which is not correct either. So I would say it always depends on the handle. This guy is the guy who makes the leather bows. He always measures it exactly in the center of the bow. I would always say, first of all, see where you hold your bow, and then that the tip is, or where you start measuring your arrow is on the outside of the bow. This is how I measure the draw length. Again, different. So, and if I would choose now the center of the bow and some kind of the deepest part, I use this one for the brace side. Yes, that's fine. But to measure my 28 inches, it's kind of like a different thing. I mean, look at this. This is where I would shoot the bow. So, and then until here would be 28 inches. So if I measure now from the belly of the bow, then I would draw already 30 inches. Of course, Koreans always measure at 31. It's a different story. So I personally, if I measure a bow, I always go that the tip of the arrow is just here. Of course, you could measure it from here, like the Turkish ones do, but if I do this now, not with the Turkish bow. I mean, you know, if I have a Turkish bow, pretty one by the way, I could go here, that I have the beginning of my tip is on the inside of the bow. That works here, so it's still safe. The tip is still on here in front of the bow, so there's no chance that this is already too far back. So that for a Turkish bow would be maybe fine. But if I see now this bow and I draw back there, so it gets already a little tricky. And if I would choose now the belly, you know, then I would draw until here. So if I start measuring my 28 inches from here, and then I want to shoot 28-inch arrow, then I would be here already. So, don't know. Same with this one. I measure. Doesn't have an arrow pass. Okay, fine. I measure it from here, my 28 inches. So I hold the bow here. My 28 inches are here. If I would say now to the belly is here. So I would draw until here, you see that? And then the tip is already disappearing behind the grip, and that would be for me already a little dangerous. So I don't know how you see it, but I always, first of all, see how I hold my bow, and then to where I start measuring my arrow. This is where I start my 28 inches. So until here, to the bottom of the nock, would be now my 28 inches, where I measure the draw weight of the bow. And I'm always on the safe side, you know, but this is just me. And it's confusing because everybody measures differently. So you get then from Nika, let's say, they measure from the deepest part of the handle plus 1.75 inches according to this AMO standard. But as we just said, it depends which handle you have. So if I have a very thin handle, deepest part of the bow plus 1.75 inches, then I'm here with, this is my, you know, then I'm here. Then I don't reach 28 inches in my opinion. So here, this should be my 28 inches. So this is what bugged me now a little, and I hope that we can work out some standard for our bows. For me, the logical sense is where I hold the bow, where the arrow has to be, and then where I measure my arrow. Depends again, of course, on the arrow, which tip you have. You see, these tips are different lengths, but the tip does not matter. It's the bottom of the tip. See, in these both arrows would be measured on the bottom. And for me, where I hold the bow, at the back of the bow. This is my way of measuring it. So now you can let me know in the comments what you think about this AMO standard, what you think about of measuring it on the inside of the bow, half of the bow. It always depends. Half of the handle here is something different than half of the handle here, and is something very different half of the handle here. So measuring it, so if then I would need to measure it in the middle where the arrow is put on, but not in the middle of the grip or in the middle of the bow. So this is all a little, gives always room for having it right or different or whatever. Just for me, bow. Tack. Then I'm there. This is my way how I measure my 28 inches when I measure the poundage. That's all I have for you today. Please let me know in the comments how you see it and how we could agree on that you get the same readings everywhere. So it doesn't help if one company, because they have 25-pound bows which have only 20 pounds, so then instead of measuring here, they measure here, and all of a sudden the bow has 25 pounds. So, but if you measure normally, then the bow has only 20 pounds. So it's always, we should find a common ground where we always do it the same, that we talk about the same things. That's all I have for you today. That was only a short one. I am off to Malta. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.